It is time for another edition of the Lockdown Corner podcast, breaking news edition. I should probably play the sounder. But first, before I do any of that, we'll bring in my co-host who is under the weather today. He is fighting through it, so God bless him, and he does love it. It says so in his handle. Dustin is here. We're going to break down the trade, but first, of course, it is relatively breaking news, so we got to play the imaging.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story.
Breaking news.
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Right now!
You're muted. So I think Alex is having some technical difficulties. I'll just take over. Obviously, if you haven't heard, Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. We got I don't want to quote it wrong. Alex trying to figure out his technical difficulties. Bear with me one moment. This is unexpected. Let's see. I believe we got a first round pick, or we swapped picks with the Jets for 13. We gave them 15. And we got their second round, 42nd pick, and I believe, 6th round pick. And they, again, in return got Aaron Rodgers and our first round pick. To me, that's a great trade. Really got nothing wrong with it. I'm just going to stall a little bit till he gets back. But, yeah, I think we kind of saw this coming the whole time. And I have no problem with it. I think they got a good draft capital in return. But I think the wait was worth it. I think they played their cards right. Let the Jets kind of come to their demands. And, yeah, I mean, I think it could have been much worse in that scenario. And, yeah, I mean, obviously nothing against Aaron Rodgers. He gave us Super Bowl. He gave us plenty of MVP seasons, exciting seasons. But, yeah, I mean, after everything that was going on and just with the drama, it's just time to go. Time to kind of restart fresh, let Jordan Love take the helm and just see where it goes. Hopefully we can use the draft capital that we got out of it and get some good players, maybe a receiver and a couple defensive key pieces we need, like an end and linebacker. And we need to address our safety problem as well in the draft. So I think getting some draft capital in return was definitely a very good start. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about it. And hopefully Alex gets back on here soon. He just said if my computer isn't working. Yeah, I'm not really sure where to go from here, but we'll wait and see. And hopefully I'll take a quick intermission, try to figure out what's going on. And we're back.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. I don't know what the hell just happened, but now I have I don't know if I have my tools. I've never done this on my phone before. I had all kinds of stuff already planned. Does this work? Okay. All right. So this is going to be real junky. I don't know what happened to my computer. It's still just decided it's not going to work. So if I can get onto my computer, I'll try. And then we'll have more of a normal show. But, all right. Well, what a great way to start this. Let's see if I can prop my phone up here. Okay. Well, things are going haywire. If I do that, sure. All right. Well, this is useless because my microphone's not working because it's hooked up to my computer. All right. I think I'm back now. I'm just going to hold this. All right. So, Dustin, what did you say? What happened these last?
So I stalled for about, just under 5 minutes and just said, hey, I'm going to take a brief intermission while we try to figure out what's going on here. But I briefly touched and said, if you haven't heard by now, Aaron Rodgers traded it. I gave him a brief description of kind of what the trade was. I wasn't specific because honestly, I don't really remember. I know we swapped picks and we got I forgot to say a conditional first round pick, but it's technically a second right now. I just you can touch on that again, but that's kind of all I said. And I talked about the situation the Packers are in.
Okay. So you pretty much nailed it. So we'll just go over this quick. Actually, can I do it this way? Nope, that's not going to work. It was experimental. Anyway, so trade compensation. The Jets are getting, obviously, Aaron Rodgers, the 15th overall pick in this year's draft, which starts Thursday, and a 2023, so this year, 5th round pick that is number 170. So they are getting Rodgers, the 15th pick, and a 5th rounder for this year. The Packers are getting the 13th overall pick. So essentially the first round is a pick swap. They are getting number 42 in the 2nd round. So that is a pretty early day 2 pick. A 6th round pick, which, number 207. And a conditional 2024 2nd round pick. So that's next year's 2nd. However, that pick also becomes a 1st if Rodgers plays 65% of snaps. So essentially, if Rodgers is healthy, Packers get 2 firsts, a 1st this year and a 1st next year. Oh boy, did the Jets. And you know what's funny? On my Twitter timeline here, what's trending is the word fleeced, because that's what this was. The Packers absolutely fleeced the Jets. The Jets were so confident. All the Jets fans on social media, we're not going to give up more than a 3rd. Well, really? Because you just gave up for sure 1 first-round pick. Probably because Rodgers is a tough dude, because he had a rib injury and the broken thumb last year. So that's 2 injuries, and he still played. So even if he's hurt, he's going to try and go, especially if y'all are competitive. So they basically got 2 firsts, we're hoping. A 2nd this year, so they have 2 firsts and 2 seconds this year in a draft that is really loaded day 2-wise. Or they didn't get 2 first-rounders. I'm sorry, because it was a pick swap. I have to try and train my brain. Pick swap. Sorry, as you could tell. By just looking at me, I just got done with tennis. I'm flustered. My computer's still not working. Well, my computer just has no internet, but that can't be possible because I'm on my phone. Okay, well, we're just going to shut that down. All right, I'm rambling. Focus back on Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so he gets traded to the Jets, finally. They wanted to get it done before the draft. It appears that they will. Nothing's official yet. But, if Schefter and Ian Rappaport are tweeting it out, it's pretty much done. So what we all expected to happen is happening, and I can't be happier with the return. There is the Rodgers speech of this, which we can touch on in a little bit, but let's talk about the trade first. So the Packers move up 2 spots. When you might say, it's only 2 spots. But for me and my fandom, we haven't talked a lot about the draft yet, and depending on how Dustin's feeling, we might do something Thursday for the draft, and another live watch along, because those have always gone so well for us. But 2 pick. So moving up 2 spots, that pick becomes more valuable if you decide you want to trade back. Now they have to pay more because it's a more premium pick, even if it only is 2 spots. But the Patriots are at 14. They're looking at receiver, offensive tackle. So if there's someone that a team behind them really likes, they might pay a premium to come up and draft in your spot. Packers can trade back. And it sounds like the Packers are looking at tight ends in the 1st round, which I agree or disagree. That is what it is. All the reports and all the visits that they've had and everything kind of seems like they're leaning tight end in the 1st round. Let's see if I can flip my thing here. Oh, yeah, that's much better. So it seems like they're leaning offensive weapon first round. My dream scenario is they stay at 13 and get Jackson Smith and Jim from Ohio State. That's the dream scenario for me. And then now you have 2 second-round picks. If you really want one of those tight ends, you can use that as ammunition to trade back up into the first to get one of your tight ends. So if there's a world where they end up with Jackson Smith and Jimba from Ohio State wide receiver and Michael Mayer, the tight end out of Notre Dame. There's a lot of smoke about him in the Packers lately. That would be a great start to your draft because this draft now becomes all about number 10, Jordan Love. So, and you might get and you're probably going to get 2 firsters next year. And the Packers they gave a 5th up. Okay, whatever. You did a pick swap and you gave him a 5th rounder to get rid of Aaron Rodgers. And he's got to restructure his contract to go to the Jets. And I'm not sure what that means for the cap, but you would imagine that's a little bit of a discount at least. So, yeah, let's talk. I want to get your side of the trade here first, your thoughts and feelings before we get into the Aaron Rodgers piece of this.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of touched on when you're having your technical difficulties. I kind of touched on a little bit, but I mean, as we talked about this before, but I mean, the Packers had to leverage the whole way. I don't see in what scenario the Jets really had the leverage just because they didn't. And I think
Jets fans thought that.
Yeah, right. I think they thought that, but it just wasn't there. And yeah, we got a great draft capital out of that. Like great draft capital. Like you said, even just to have that conditional first. Like say even if we don't get it, like whoop-de-doo. Like we still get a 2nd round pick, and especially if Rodgers doesn't play the whole year, they probably have a bad season. It's a high 2nd overall pick. So regardless, it's to me it's a early first, late 2nd at worst. So you're getting good value, and then like you said. That number 13, there's plenty of options. Say like, if I think JSN is the more realistic pick at that, and if he's not there, I'm guessing trade back. I don't see tight end because this is a really deep tight end class, so I don't think tight end in the first round is kind of worth it. You might as well just wait till 2nd round and get a good value, but that's just me.
No, I'm with you. It's just I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and prep for the draft. There just seems to be a lot of smoke about a first round tight end, and if they trade back, that makes sense. But Brian Windhorst's hands here. Why would the Packers? Because it sounded like they pushed for a pick swap. So fine, if you don't want to give up your first, that's fine. But pick swap with us then, okay. But Gutekunst, which props to him, he dug his heels in. The Jets caved, and obviously they should have because I don't know where their leverage was coming from, as we've just said. But not to get 2 picks up instead of trading back or just holding your first rounds. And then, okay, well, we'll just trade back anyway. Why? I think they have something in mind. And if you look ahead of them, there are a couple places where JSN, I can't keep saying Jackson Smith and Jigba. It's just a real mouthful. So we're going to call him JSN, his nickname. So if JSN is sitting there at 13, fantastic. But also, if that is the guy you really want, and okay, the Bears are sniffing around at 9. I don't know why they would. They need offensive line help more than anything. But okay, so there's them. There's the Titans at 12. Okay, well, maybe you need to leapfrog them. Now you have the ammunition. You can say, okay, take 13. We'll bump up to wherever. And you can throw in one of those seconds that you have now. You just have extra assets to work with. And personally, if they do want a tight end first and they don't really believe in JSN, which he's really the only receiver in the draft that's worth a damn. I personally loved watching Quentin Johnston from TCU, but he didn't test very well. And for the Packers, that athletic testing means the world. So I don't see them going that route, as big of a fan as I am of him personally. So I'm guessing that they went up for a reason. Now, I don't know if that's an offensive tackle, which, again, I don't think they would do that early. They typically find good value in that in the 2nd, 3rd round. I don't see them drafting an offensive lineman first. Now, you could make an argument for edge rusher first, someone like Miles Murphy from Clemson. Maybe I wouldn't do it this high, but Lucas Van Ness from Iowa, I wouldn't go that high for him. But they did it for a reason. So that makes me think that JSN is in play here. And then I did hear some other smoke about, well, okay, so now they got a premium pick, so if they decide to trade back, they'll just get more for that pick. Okay, fine. And if they honestly want one of those tight ends, then trade back into the 20s, grab one of those guys, either Kincaid or Mayer, because they are a level above the other guys, even though the other guys are really good too. So we'll see. But I think the fun part about this draft is that I think it's going to be a weapons draft, which we haven't had one of them maybe ever, except for maybe the Eddie Lacy year, because I want to say they took Was that also the Devontae Adams year? No, I don't think so. I think those are different years. But they've done this before where they end up trading back and getting a skill guy they really like, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams. So this isn't uncommon. So all of that said, so the draft part on Thursday, if we end up doing a live thing, we'll cover more of the draft and ramifications. But Packers basically got a haul for this. I do want to touch on the Aaron Rodgers thing just real quick. We're not going to go very long today. Dustin's under the weather, and I got a lot of stuff to do. I went to play tennis, which is probably why I look like hell. Just a shower afterward. I got to walk the dog and stuff yet. So anyway, I'm making excuses. But anyway, so the Aaron Rodgers piece of this, I see all these analysts now. Jets are a top 5 team in the AFC. And I'm going down the list. Does no one remember how Aaron Rodgers played last year? He was hurt. Fine. You want to make that argument? Fine. He was hurt. But he wasn't very good. Dustin, how many times you and I watched a lot of games together? How many times did you and I make fun? Oh, 3rd and 2nd. This one's going 60 yards downfield.
I'd say every single game.
It was almost every 3rd down. Like, he was not very good. Maybe that was injuries, but he wasn't very good. And they're like, well, even if he's just average, he'll be better than what they have. True, because Zach Wilson's been terrible and probably is terrible at this point. I think we can make that conclusion. But I don't understand. He's got to go through, just in his own division, Tua, for whatever you think of Tua. When he played, he was good. He's got to go through Josh Allen. He's got to go through Bill Belichick, who, tell me, I can probably count on one finger how many times he's looked good against the Belichick defense. For whatever you think of the Patriots, they're not going to be they're not going to roll over. So there's a lot of question marks I have just with, the Jets, they're in contention now. Well, maybe. But also, if you look at their offense compared to what the Packers had last year, okay, they got Lazard and Wilson. Okay, Wilson's an upgrade. Tight end, Conklin versus Tunyon. Tunyon kind of disappeared, but talent-wise, they're about the same, if not a little better. Running back, Breece Hall got hurt, but Breece Hall looked pretty darn good. But is he better than Aaron Jones? Maybe. He had the potential to be. But let's call that a wash for now because coming off injury, we don't know what that's going to look like. And their offensive line is worse. So, Dustin, you tell me. I don't see much of a difference. Their defense is better, but offensively, I don't know that there's going to be much of a difference, especially because the offensive line for the Jets is so shaky.
Yeah, I mean, I think they thought that they had a better receiving core. I think that's why they made me think that. But still, yeah, they don't have the offensive line to really make that matter. And, like, maybe the Jets go offensive tackle and really kind of, because they did, that I don't remember his name, Becton. Is it Becton?
Yes,
I don't know.
he's been quite injury prone.
Yeah, he's been injury prone. He's really good. When he plays, he's really good. So, I mean, if he stays healthy and they get, a good other tackle, because I think their other tackle is pretty bad. But if they get, solid ends, then maybe, they can make it work. But yeah, it's just like at this state and at this moment, I don't see them. I see them kind of being maybe a 500, just about 500 team. Like they're average. Like, sure, that's what it is.
And we don't know their schedule yet. The schedule hasn't come out yet. I think that comes out in late May or June. But just in their own division, Tua twice, Josh Allen twice. And plus, they're the Jets. Like, the Jets have basically been cursed. And also, he's pushing 40. Like, at some point, you saw his deep ball accuracy last year fell off a cliff. That's typically the first sign of an aging quarterback, unless you're Tom Brady and they're a freak. But, like, I don't understand all these analysts. Oh, well, the Jets are now top 5. Lock them in. They're in the hunt. Well, yeah. But also, I don't know that a lot of people – he is great. Don't get me wrong. And the sentimentality – this is a bittersweet day. Obviously, it's not fun to trade a Hall of Fame quarterback, but I don't think the nation really understands what Packer fans like you and I have gone through the last several years of the Aaron Rodgers experience, him going into a cave for days and talking to bears and doing drugs. And it's just like, can I just have a normal human being as my quarterback? He's great. Don't get me wrong. And you tolerate all the batshit craziness for the Hall of Fame talent. But the problem is he had a really good MVP season. Then last year, and I know that wasn't the case when he won it, but last year it kind of felt like, well, no one else is really stepping up. And Rodgers had a good year at his age. Sure, let's give it to him. It kind of felt like he won by default. Not that he wasn't great, but it was kind of like, okay, the team's really good. He's the best player on a good team. Sure. You can make an argument that he probably shouldn't have won last year because he had his peak when he won his third MVP because he's got 4 of them. His third, then it was a little decline. Still won MVP, still MVP level good for a decline. And then last year fell off a cliff. And again, you can blame injuries. I don't know what to make of. Oh well, they're going to be great now. Are we sure? And the AFC's loaded. We just talked about division. We didn't talk about Burrow. We didn't talk about Mahomes. The Chargers might get their act together finally. Who knows what Denver's going to be now that they got Sean Payton in charge? And who knows about Russell Wilson? And I'm sure I'm forgetting more teams. Lord knows the AFC South, they'll cannibalize each other, but who knows what Jacksonville's going to be? Maybe Jacksonville takes a step. Like, the AFC is so loaded. Meanwhile, in Packerland, best quarterback in the NFC, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, probably Jalen Hurts by default. And then, it's like Jalen Hurts in his own tier. Then you take a step down, you're looking at like Dak, Cousins, maybe, Stafford, which, I mean, just listen to these names I'm saying. This isn't 2015. Like, Jordan Love easily, and I saw something online that said, oh, Justin Fields is the best quarterback in the division. Look, I'm as big of a Fields guy as anybody. Is he the best quarterback in the division? No. I would say Cousins or Goff is probably the first, and that's not that high of a bar. So if Jordan Love can just be what he was in Philadelphia, which is just really good, great. Guess what? We're going to the playoffs then. I feel like a lot of people are like, wow, Packers are going to tank. They got rid of Aaron Rodgers. They had some weapons in this draft, and yes, rookies tend to suck, but you had some weapons in this draft. I think they get a wild card pretty convincingly. That's my bold prediction.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely plausible, but I think a 9-8 season is kind of more realistic. Kind of aim. But yeah, I mean I could definitely see them if say they get a really good rookie class and they all play very well. Because I mean, really, the main pieces they need and are receiver, tight end, and
Probably
maybe
defensive line.
Yeah, defensive line and end, and that's kind of like it. Like, yeah, we should address our safety issue.
Yep.
And tackle issue because they're aging players. We should address them, but if we waited, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But definitely need to be addressed within the next year.
So there's the best mock draft I've seen so far. That was my favorite. It was JSN at 13. At 42, it was the edge rusher from Kansas State. I can't say his name. I don't Udoba or Awuzie. I don't know what the hell his name is. But kid from Kansas State, high motor, just would be a really good pairing. Kind of a developmental project, but could be what Rashawn Gary is now. Then you go tight end, Darnell Washington, who's 6'7" and just a monster and would be a huge red zone threat right away. Maybe, and he's 6'7", pushing 300 pounds. Like, he's a big cat. He's going to be a great blocker right away, too, just because you can't move him. And he went to Georgia, which is a blue blood program. So all of that is good. And then you get Alabama safety Jordan Battle in the 4th. Oh, my God, let's roll. Or I guess in the 3rd. It was the top 4 picks. I would love that draft class. I would be doing backflips if they ended up with that kind of draft class. I don't even know. This safety class sucks. But get an athlete from Alabama and they'll figure it out. Except haha Clinton Dix. As soon as I said that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. We did that once. It didn't work out. But no, so that's the draft stuff. We can talk more about the draft stuff on Thursday, and we can off air. We'll talk about how we want to take care of that. But we can also cross that bridge when we get closer. Let's talk about the sentimental part of this. While I'm happy that this is finally over and there's a new era, and I'm just happy to see what Jordan Love is. I've been excited. I've been excited every preseason just because I get to watch Jordan Love play. I'm very excited to watch him, and I do believe. I know some people aren't on the train, and it's going to be the same thing that they did with Aaron Rodgers when Brett Favre left. This kid sucks. Why did we trade? I know there's going to be those people out there, but we've seen him play one full game at Kansas City on a short week because Rodgers got hit with COVID on like Wednesday, so we had 2 days to prepare. And he played, a quarter in Philadelphia last year, and the improvement was crazy. You saw the difference. Also, Rodgers wasn't practicing very often due to injuries, but also he kind of quit on this team. He was just ready to move on. He's been ready to move on for years, and that's okay. And I know some people are going to be, oh, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him too. He's a Hall of Famer. This is what I will say. I've been in my lifetime, I am going to be 28 years old in a month. I have only known Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I am spoiled. I understand that. But it's okay. Rodgers didn't want to be here anymore. At some point, it's like either fit in or fit out. And he made it clear the last several years. And then, well, I don't know if I want to play. I'm going to go talk to bears in a cave. And it's just all this stuff. I will miss him as my quarterback. I truly will. But I think it's okay to be excited about the Jordan Love era.
Yeah, I mean, I touched on this when you were away, but yeah, I mean, I said, Rodgers gave us a lot. He gave us Super Bowl. He gave us, multiple MVP seasons. He gave us a hell of a decade. It was a good time. I'm glad for the memories, and obviously, with that Super Bowl win, obviously, I'll remember that as a childhood. That was one of my favorite childhood moments when they won.
Yeah,
and yeah, it's time to move on. He didn't want to be here. We didn't really want him here anymore. It's like, fine, go separate ways. Let's be done.
No, nobody's fault. At some point, you're with someone that long or at a job for that long, you just want a new challenge. And that's okay. Things were kind of getting stale around here. It was like, oh, God, is Aaron going to play? Is he not going to play? And honestly, I'm so sick of saying his name because it's just like, well, what do you think about this guy? What do you think he's going to do? Clearly, he doesn't want to be here. And that's fine. I don't blame him. 18 years with one place. And obviously, there's been a lot of frustrations over the years. Like, yeah, eventually that builds up. But now they got this young kid who's hungry. Rodgers, and let's face it, Rodgers accomplished all he wanted to do here. Well, he didn't get a second Super Bowl. He got you one. And let's be honest, he elevated a lot of mediocre teams. That 2016, when they got killed in the NFC Championship by Atlanta, that team wasn't very good. And somehow they made it to the NFC title game. Like, you can make an argument he elevated a lot of those teams. And that's great. I think we can make a run team. And everyone's like, whatever, you're 3-4. And then they ran the table. Like the Randall Cobb game where in Chicago, he throws up that Hail Mary at the end of the game on 4th and short for a touchdown against the Bears. He's left us so many memories. And truthfully, I know both on this podcast and just in my personal life, I've been saying I will pack his bags. I will drive him to the airport. And that's more for the off the field stuff. On the field, yeah, in my opinion, he's the greatest quarterback to wear the G on his helmet. Favre was great. He's not what Aaron Rodgers was. Between talent, accuracy, and when Rodgers was dialed in, I don't think there was any. You can make the argument he's the best quarterback ever. I know obviously it's early for Mahomes, and there are guys coming that might be able to. And I shouldn't say it because I forgot about Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady's got the rings and whatever, but just from a talent perspective and throwing the football, he might be the best thrower of the football we've ever seen outside of Marino, and I wasn't alive for Marino. So I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, God, he's gone. Like, either as a sigh of relief or like, oh, God, now what? Like, this is going to be a dark couple of years, which it might be, and that's okay. Now, this year, I just told someone this the other day. This year, house money season. If they suck, guess what? You're probably going to have another first-round pick to work with and your own pick. So, therefore, you have 2 first-rounders probably coming next year. And guess what? If Jordan Love isn't the guy and he really struggles, well, guess what? There's a new quarterback coming next year. There always are. There's always, oh, look at this young, exciting kid. Hell, if they get 2 first-round picks next year and Jordan Love stinks and they want to go a different direction, Caleb Williams from USC is the next hot thing. You have 2 first-round picks you can move up, or you can use to move up and draft Caleb Williams. And then you're set. This is a house money season. And if Jordan Love's good, great. Now you're set for the next decade. So everything will work itself out. We went a little longer than I thought. We're at 30 minutes. But anyway, it's okay to be excited about Jordan Love while also feeling bad about Aaron Rodgers. That's kind of where I'm at tonight. I think a lot of people are. But also the return that the Packers got for let's face it, an old quarterback, that's exciting. So, yes, it sucks that we just traded a Hall of Fame quarterback away, but also how many years does he really have left? 1 or 2? So go play in New York, and then he'll live in a cave for the rest of his days, and we all move on with our lives. But no, it's okay to be appreciative, but also excited for what the Packers got in return and what's coming this upcoming season. I gotta say, I'm more excited for this upcoming season, maybe just because it's young guys, or things were just stale. And who knows, maybe it's like a Brett Hundley experience, and then we're just terrible all year, and then it won't be much fun. But I'm excited to give these young guys a chance to see what they can do, because this team is, I would argue, super athletic, and they're just going to add athleticism in the draft just because that's how they profile their draft prospects. So I keep rambling. But we will probably be back on Thursday, barring a change. But also, Dustin has to get up early for work, so we'll see what happens. So it might just be me going solo in the Packers pick, but we'll figure that out when we get there. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers, for the last 18 years and all the memories. Jordan Love, we're excited to watch. Well, I am. I assume you are too. But Jordan, we're excited for you. We got your back here on the Lockdown Corner podcast. I don't know about the rest of Titletown, but I know we do. So thank you for watching. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify. This is a YouTube exclusive. Okay, so you will only get this on our YouTube page. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page to get more content like this. And truthfully, it might be also a YouTube exclusive on Thursday or Facebook. We haven't decided yet. But regardless, make sure you subscribe to both of those places. We are signing off. I don't even know if our exit song works, so I'm not even going to try it. So thanks for bearing with us through the technical difficulties. Thanks for sticking with us. And we will see you on Thursday for what will be a pretty compelling first round of the draft. We will see you then. Have a good night. And as always, go Pack, go.